Considered a destination for tourists from all over the world, attracted by his beloved personality and distinctive appearance, attracting the lenses of photographers seeking to capture the most beautiful and breathtaking pictures, a lion considered until his last days one of the most magnificent lions of Africa, specifically in Tanzania in his sanctuary represented by Serengeti National Park. He is the lion Bob Jr., whose death caused great sadness worldwide. The little lion born in 2010, named Bob Jr., after his father didn't know that he would capture the hearts of everyone who saw him, with his huge dark mane, distinctive shape, and extreme gentleness. During his childhood, his father ruled alongside his brother Ziggy. Bob the father and Ziggy dominated pride in central, southern, and eastern Serengeti during their peak youth and strength. From an early age, Bob Jr. was known for his curious and daring personality. Often he would stray from his pride, venturing out alone to explore the surrounding areas. However, this adventurous spirit also landed him in trouble once, as he went missing for several days, causing concern for the park rangers. Despite these unfortunate incidents, Bob Jr. grew up to be a strong and dominant lion, which eventually prepared him to become the leader of his pride. He was a fierce protector of his family, often hunting and bringing food to share with his pride members. This stunning lion with amber eyes, who was called Bob Marley by tour guides after the famous Jamaican reggae singer because of his shiny and distinctive mane, stood out with his appearance. Bob Jr. was distinguished by his appearance, especially with his prominent mane, reddish-brown in color, with a scar above his left eye which gave him a sharp and powerful look. This scar resulted from a fight with a rival male lion, which Bob Jr. won, of course. However, since Bob the father and his brother Ziggy controlled 5 prides at once, Bob Jr. and his brother Trigva couldn't assert dominance during their upbringing. So in 2017, after strengthening and becoming capable of independence, they migrated to the western Serengeti region, where they roamed the plains and fully dominated the area. They settled in the grassy savannas of the western Serengeti. This area had previously been closed by the park for approximately 25 years for cheetah breeding. But these lucky cubs discovered it after its reopening. Bob Jr. was recognizable due to his size and appearance, closely resembling his father, with the main difference being that his father's mane was more pronounced with braids. Over the years, Bob Jr. became a beloved figure in Serengeti National Park. Visitors came from all over the world to see him, and he sometimes approached their vehicles spontaneously and gently, allowing them to capture amazing close-up photos of him. This made him a favorite among tourists, who often shared his pictures on social media. One tourist said, "The first time I saw Bob Jr., we had a moment where we closed our eyes and heard his famous roar, which I felt deep in my soul. He was so big that when he stood next to our car, he could almost reach the window, letting us hear his roar loudly and terrifyingly." One evening, our group went out on a safari as usual when we encountered Bob Jr. walking, raising his head high. We felt that he had already spotted something, so we started following him to discover what was happening. Suddenly, we saw the entire herd feeding on tauro tragus, the largest antelope in Africa. It led us to the scene of the incident. However, life in the wilderness isn't always easy, as Bob Jr. faced many challenges during his time in the park. But one of the biggest threats to his life came from hunters, who often targeted lions for their valuable body parts, such as bones and skins. Fortunately, park rangers were always vigilant against such activities, doing their best to protect Bob Jr. and his pride from harm. In addition to the threat from illegal hunters, Bob Jr. had to deal with natural predators, like hyenas and crocodiles, which could threaten his life and that of his pride. Despite being a skilled hunter and fighter who could defend his family as best as he could. As Bob Jr. aged, signs of aging began to show on him. His once strong body weakened, and he was no longer able to hunt as effectively as before. Nevertheless, he remained a respected and beloved leader among his pride members, who continued to look up to him for guidance and protection. The violent death of Bob Jr. made headlines on March 11th of this year, 2023, as he was killed in a fierce attack by younger rivals known as the Saba Bora Alliance, believed by some to be his own cubs who were expelled from the pride at a young age, while others believe they crossed the Kenyan border to defeat all lions standing in their way. Indeed, the younger males set their sights on Bob Jr. to challenge him in a fierce fight that ended his life as he defended his territory in the eastern Samatu-Copias plains. The attack by these young lions was extremely violent. They didn't merely make him flee or simply drive him away, but intended from the start to end his life and make the place tremble with their unfamiliar dominance and ferocity, though he fought as he should until he breathed his last breath. It is also believed that Bob Jr.'s beloved brother, Trygve, was killed in separate but apparently coordinated attacks, according to Freddie Shirima, the Conservation and Protection Officer in Serengeti Park. Since then, Bob Jr.'s legacy lives on in the memories of all who knew him worldwide, in the many photos and videos taken of him during his time in the park. He was a symbol of Serengeti's beauty and magnificence, and his departure is a reminder of the fragility of life, even for the mightiest creatures in the wild. He was a lion who captured the hearts of many, a strong and courageous leader who protected his family from human and animal threats. His death is a tremendous and painful loss in the vast spaces that serve as a stage for competition, for the fight between the largest cats on Earth, where the soil and air are dyed red with blood. Predators confront each other to prove their strength and dominance, and to declare the place a kingdom for the fiercest and strongest among them. Among these cats emerges the era of the fiercest lions, a group that fears nothing, named the Mapogos Alliance, dominated and led by the most ferocious lion in modern history, who made his name a legend of brutality and violence throughout the kingdom. He is the lion nicknamed Mr. T, or Satan, who left with his brothers to the Sabi Sand Reserve and established their own alliance. They waited to master hunting skills, strengthen their bodies, and steal others' prey before they occupied all parts of the reserve and wrote their terrifying, bloody history. Mr. T was the strongest of the group despite being the youngest, and was followed by his closest brother Kinky Tail, in addition to his other brothers Makulu, Rasta, and Pretty Boy. Mr. T relied on killing any dominant male he faced in the place in his way to expand in the reserve. Even he did not spare the young cubs or the females who refused to submit to him for mating. He killed them in the ugliest ways, to the point that he competed with his older brother Makulu for ruling the place, and a violent fight broke out between them that ended with the division of the group and Mr. T leaving the alliance with his subordinate brother Kinky Tail. The brothers headed east to control the northern and eastern part of the reserve, where the strong duo guarded their lands against many intruders who had the audacity to come. Not only did Mr. T and his brother defend their brothers and the reserve lands from one side of the east, but they also faced any attack from the west as well, where the entire western part of the reserve was almost surrounded by walls, which means that the only way to enter was through Mr. T and his brother. 4 years have passed since the Mapogos dominated the place. In this calm, a significant challenge awaits the two brothers as they face a new coalition of lions in the area. This challenge, posed by the Majingalani's alliance, is one of the toughest battles these energetic, vibrant, and cunning young lions will encounter. The brothers set a trap for one of these 5 lions when he was wandering alone in the place. Then they surrounded him and killed him in a terrifying and fierce way. In the evening, the rest of these angry lions began to challenge and roar throughout the place to avenge the death of one of their brothers. Kinky Tail accepted this challenge and went arrogantly with his great strength to face them, to face the 4 lions. But the majority overcame the courage, and the Majingalani's alliance was able to kill him in the ugliest way. He was literally torn and bitten in a way that expresses the severity of their anger at the killing of their brother. And some photographers who captured this fight said that they literally heard the sound of his spine breaking. And when Mr. T arrived at the place at the call of his brother, he tried to skirmish with the angry lions, but he realized that he would not be able to compete with this strong young alliance. Then he left the place after being chased, but he survived and headed towards his brothers. While this new alliance declared control over the north and east, Mr. T had arrived at his brother's control areas in the south, who simply received him, without being expelled or fighting with Makulu again. After a brief period of calm, Mr. T returned to his usual brutality and tried to mate with some of the lionesses who refused to submit to him. So he expelled some of them and killed the other and killed most of the cubs in front of his brothers, who did not move to confront him and prevent him. Then he took over and became the leader of the group. After settling in the place, the Majingalani's lions resumed their attack on the Mapogos control areas, and they succeeded in killing 2 of the Mapogos, namely Rasta and Pretty Boy, and the other 3 remained, led by Mr. T, who fled the place for survival. Age advanced in the 3 lions, and their situation became threatened by many young alliances that are expanding in the place. Hunting has become difficult for them, and aging has worn them out. And indeed not much has passed before a new alliance called Salala arrived, and pounced on Mr. T and his brothers, the latter who fled with them from the place. But the alliance followed him until it surrounded him and started fighting with him. It was a fight of life or death, and he kept fighting with all ferocity and strength to wriggle out of them. And despite his many wounds, he remained steadfast, replying the bites and blows, with his body thickened with wounds. But in the end, he fell victim to fatigue, and his strength faded, and the lions pounced on him, tearing all parts of his body. To end with his death, the legend of the fiercest lions in the Sabi Sand Reserve and Africa, who wrote headlines of brutality, terror, and control that will never be repeated. While his brothers Scar and Makulu retreated as far as possible from the place to save their lives, their era later ended due to old age, lack of food, surrender to weakness, and death. In today's video, we'll delve deeper into the magnificent African wilderness to explore the strongest lion alliances ever. 6th, the Birmingham Boys. In the rugged northern Sabi Sand area of Kruger National Park, a group of lions known as the Birmingham Alliance established their presence. Each member had a unique personality, symbolizing strength and resilience in the African wild. Initially, Nsoko, nicknamed Blondie for his impressive blonde mane, took the lead as the eldest and fiercest. Naturally, Nsoko assumed his leadership role alongside his strong brother Nhenha, brave warrior Tino with broken teeth, and mischievous and aggressive Mfumo, named after a legendary villainous character. They cooperated as blood brothers to protect their territory and secure food collectively. However, life for the Birmingham Lions wasn't always unified. It was a mix of competition and desire for solitary rule. Battles erupted over mating rights and dominance, leading to violent conflicts within the coalition with severe consequences that eventually scattered this powerful alliance. 5th, the Notch Coalition. The Masai Mara region, with its vast golden plains and immense animal diversity, witnessed a unique lion lineage known as the Notch Coalition. This group of 6 strong males, led by the grizzled male Notch, were angry siblings filled with bloodlust and hunting prowess. Their harmonious teamwork made them elite hunters who decimated many wild animals, including zebras with their high speeds. Their secret weapon was their thrilling collective action. Their roars echoed like thunder across the plains, signaling dominance and power and clearly expressing their bravery and control over the area. Led by Notch and his fierce sons, they were always effective attackers and seasoned warriors in battles. Spanning over 1,000 square kilometers, their prey-rich kingdom was highly contested by other beasts. Thus it was inevitable that this kingdom would fall. As Notch aged, signs of weakness appeared, and his roar turned to whispers. He stayed close to his sons, trying to survive as long as possible before his reign broke forever. However, some sons fell in battles, and others disappeared for unknown reasons, hastening the end of this coalition that left its mark and genes across Masai Mara that will undoubtedly re-emerge in strong alliances. 4th, the Matimba Lions Coalition. The formation of the powerful Matimba Coalition and its emergence in the Sabi Sand area was a very frightening era, which lasted from 2010 to 2017. These 6 lions were famous for their strength and ferocity, forming regional invaders, aggressors, and usurpers of many lands from other lion coalitions. This group originated in the Ngala Reserve, where their journey of dominance began in 2010 when they moved to Majingalani, successfully expelling the dominant lions to establish their own territories and lands that extended across Kruger National Park to Ngala Reserve and on to Sabi Sand. The strategic decision by this coalition to move not only showed their adaptability, but also their understanding of the surrounding environment and how to take the best steps for dominance and expansion. The Matimba coalition's ability to work collectively in coordinated hunting operations played a crucial role in their success. It also allowed them to cooperate effectively, not just in hunting, but also in defending their territories from potential threats. However, internal divisions and the mysterious disappearance of one of the lions named Nduna in 2012 led to a shift in Matimba's strategies. By 2013, conflicts within the coalition, along with the emergence of young lions, led to a split into two factions: the northern Matimbas, which included Shaka, Slitnose, and Whiteface, and the southern Matimbas, which included Hairy Belly and Ginger, known for their hostility and frequent clashes with rivals. The northern Matimba era began to fade once one of the males was killed in 2015, while another was killed by rival males in 2017. The last northern Matimba was seen spending time with the Skoro Pride around Tamboti area and eventually died of old age as he appeared weak. Meanwhile, in 2018, the southern Matimba lions were spotted on the western side of Sabi Sand, an area left by the Majingalani coalition after their death. Soon after, the southern lions were seen mating with Othawa lionesses and later sired many cubs, expanding and mating with other known prides such as Talamati, Mibri, Nkuhuma, Torchwood, Skoro, and Red Road. Later on, Ginger Matimba suffered from a severe type of mange and was seen struggling with the disease for some time, but eventually died, leaving Hairy Belly as the last remaining Matimba lion. Third, the Salati Males Coalition. In the diverse competitive landscape of western Sabi Sand region emerges another one of the fiercest and most bloodthirsty coalitions. Despite its recent existence and short history of spread, it has made its own violent glory in this vast place. It is the Salati coalition that came as a terrifying force dominating many areas of the reserve from 2015 to 2017 in a deadly and swift manner. Named after the Salati River that flowed through their territory, this coalition formed an enduring legacy. Their rise to prominence was not easy. The Salati brothers strategically collaborated to overthrow the Mapogo coalition that ruled the area at that time. The scene of fierce battles was terrifying, especially after Mapogo members scattered and struggled among themselves, leading to successful takeover of their territories and expulsion from the list of dominant predators in the region. The unity and strength of Salati coalition became the cornerstone of their clear dominance, embodying sophisticated strategies of lion societies. For 2 years, the Salati males held their territory with an iron grip. They sired many cubs and reinforced their status as formidable and terrifying predators that are difficult to confront. However, their reign was not without challenges. Territorial disputes arose from other coalitions that began to emerge frequently in the area, forming the kind of massive competition for place like the Majingalani and Birmingham males, which were constant threats. In addition, some internal conflicts within the group's entity led to one of the lions leaving the coalition in 2016. The tragedy for the coalition increased in 2017 when a member of the coalition fell victim to attacks by Matimba and Majingalani lions, while another succumbed to illness, leaving the remaining 2 Salati brothers in a clear state of weakness. As their strength was in their union, the younger lion persevered for a short time, but eventually faced too much challenge and competition that led to his overthrow by the Birmingham males in 2018. This marked the end of the strong Salati coalition. Secondly, the Majingalani coalition. The Majingalani coalition gained a terrifying reputation in their movements and incursions into territories and occupying areas, where this coalition's lions always moved towards their goal without ever deviating from their path. They were raised in Majingalani Reserve, where they were known for their skills in hunting large prey, especially buffalo. After this quintet coalition's cubs were born between 2004 and 2005, they set out on their own in 2009, heading south towards Sabi Sand. Their choice to stay together played an important role in asserting their presence and enhancing their status everywhere they set foot. Therefore, they always roared on their way of migration, looking for new challenges to test their immense strength. Salala Pride was the first group targeted by the Majingalanis. They caused many victims who tried to confront them. Only the 4 younger lionesses along with their mothers managed to survive. By 2010, the 2 adult lionesses had surrendered to the coalition and chose to mate with what was previously considered the enemy. In this harsh environment, the law of survival of the fittest prevailed for the group and the strongest to ensure the continuation of the herd. The Majingilana's lions became stronger and more violent, with a darker and thicker mane that indicated their immense strength, gradually dominating more territories. This dominance continued for more than 7 years, representing an important chapter in the pages of glory they wrote over the years. They firmly controlled a vast area of Sabi Sand Reserve estimated at 26,676 hectares during the peak of their influence. Firstly, the Mapogo Alliance. We've reached one of the most ferocious alliances that dominated and marked their territory and history with blood. With a group of massive, fierce, and battle-scarred lions known as the Mapogo. This terrifying group of males born in South Africa, specifically in the vast Sabi Sand area of Kruger National Park, was one of the most fearsome types of lions over the years, from 2004 to 2012. This alliance was famous for its unprecedented strength and violence and its unparalleled killing methods. They also controlled an area of about 70,000 hectares. What distinguishes the Mapogo Alliance is its harsh reputation, which led to a bloody history documented by killing more than 100 lions and cubs in just 1 year, a number that could be higher considering the vast areas they patrolled. At its peak, the alliance consisted of 6 fierce males, had a special impact on the place, and did not distinguish between a cub of their offspring or their brother's offspring. They killed for the sake of killing only, with an insatiable hunger for violence and blood. In the early months of 2004, 5 cubs, along with the veteran warrior and leader Makulu, left their pride to begin a series of challenges to survive in the wild, in addition to learning exciting hunting and killing methods. They formed a formidable bond through their unity, staying together, thereby increasing their chances of survival. After gaining strength and becoming successful and skilled hunters, they set out to dominate and discover their immense power. Their large size and excellent experience in taking down huge prey enabled them to face the fiercest competing beasts, especially other lion alliances coveting their place. They also demonstrated their ability to adapt and excel in overcoming challenges in their vast territories. On March 16, 2012, a pivotal moment in the overall competitive landscape of the Sabi Sand area was revealed when a new alliance of 4 male lions known as Salati entered the territory controlled by the Mapogo lions. This marked the beginning of a significant shift in the region's balance of power. Many challenges emerged at that time, especially after an internal conflict led to the fragmentation and division of the alliance. In another decisive confrontation, a group of powerful Majingalani lions appeared and began trying to overthrow the Mapogo members through their tactical prowess and ferocity. The youthfulness and vitality that were one of the reasons for their ability to face the terrifying Mapogo. The fall of alliance members one after another, especially Mr. T, marked a turning point in Mapogo's dominance. The last 2 lions from the group, Old Makulu and Pretty Boy, found themselves engaged in a fierce confrontation. It led to their withdrawal into Kruger National Park's territory, trying to stay away from danger as much as possible. However, they faced Kruger's lions, who eventually overthrew them, declaring an end to an era of one of the most brutal and bloody lion alliances. In Kenya, there are approximately 2589 lion, according to a survey report conducted by the Kenyan Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife in 2021, specialized in counting the number of wild animals. These lions have entered the endangered red list, especially due to the increasing density of the population, near the Masai Mara ecosystem, the most famous reserve in the region. This density has led to increased contact between lions and people who are understandably concerned about their livestock falling prey to hungry lions. Despite the fact that male lions pose a significant threat to each other, humans remain the greatest threat lions could ever face. Human-lion conflict, retaliatory killing, and illegal hunting are among the primary reasons endangering the future of lions in Kenya and elsewhere. So today we speak about a lion that lived in this area and made a huge name alongside its mighty brothers, never crossing anyone's mind that they were waiting to receive news of the killing of one of Kenya's most famous lions. This lion, which disappeared since late January, was believed to possibly be patrolling its territory boundaries and roaming the land, chasing other animals as usual. He is the powerful lion, Olabore. As all followers of this magnificent lion know, expecting the worst is always likely, especially in a place teeming with competing hunters and predators. Olabore was a member of the Black Rock Boys Alliance, which is considered the strongest and fiercest current lion alliances in Africa. These 4 lions are bloodthirsty, not distinguishing any living creature and committing every thought that comes to their mind to killing, torturing, and brutality. Olabore was the notorious leader among these 4 lunatics, perhaps the most bloodthirsty compared to any other lion. Many compare him to Mr. T, the devil himself, the terrifying lion and the epitome of absolute evil in history and in the Mapogo alliance. His actions and brutality cannot be predicted, especially as he sees himself as the worthiest and the strongest among all. Olabore was known as a killing machine, thirsty for adventure, pursuit, and combat. He killed lions, lionesses, cubs, without leaving anything behind. He killed the lion Sankey, also known as Monaco, and also known as Frank II, the son of the legendary Jesse. Despite Frank II being considered one of the largest and most terrifying lions, Olabore easily killed him as well, and almost killed Jesse too if he hadn't been slaughtered by the Masai Mara tribes after encroaching on their territories. Olabore also engaged single-handedly in battle against a whole group of hyenas and slaughtered them mercilessly, killing and injuring many of them, standing confidently in front of everyone on his land, knowing that we're talking about a lion only 5 years old. So in the world of lions, he is still considered young at the peak of his prowess, with at least another 5 years ahead of him for roaming the wilderness, hunting and fighting, if he remains in full strength and health. Other lion cubs he encountered did not escape his grasp. He killed many of them, especially lioness cubs like Kusinga, most of whom he killed. Olabore's ferocity escalated when he found no lions to challenge and fight, to the extent that he turned to his brother Olumina when he decided to fight him. Before a lioness from the Gai Pride joined Olumina against Olabore, but despite that, they couldn't overcome this angry and crazy lion, as he injured them and left many marks on their faces with his claws, as if to say, "This is a souvenir from me." He was an exceptional lion whom no one could defeat, and not a day passed without his face being stained with the blood of his victims. He never tired of engaging in any battle. The only thing that left him exhausted was overeating and roaming with a belly full of meat. His fame reached beyond the region, as followers came to see this strong leader from all over the world. He was considered a great national treasure in Africa, especially in Kenya. He triumphed over buffaloes and wildebeests, reaching elephants, hyenas, lions, including his brothers. However, sadly, his journey ended at the hands of humans who managed to eliminate him. On January 27th of this year, Olabore and his very close brother, the lion Oloshiba, decided to go on patrol to guard their territory from enemies as usual. But Oloshiba was spotted alone returning to his pride without Olabore, who disappeared suddenly. Then after 10 days of his disappearance, things started to look worrisome. However, as we said, the expected scenario is usually the worst, as it was initially speculated that he got into a fight and was injured after a battle with the nearby Sankey alliance, then disappeared to recover from those injuries before returning. The second possibility is that he may have been killed by the Masai Mara tribespeople due to his repeated attacks on their livestock. Unfortunately, the news was later confirmed that Olabore died, or more accurately, was killed. However, also without any photographic evidence of what happened, and without finding the body of this lion, the truth about Olabore remains unclear, and no one knows the full truth except Olabore himself. The area where Olabore died is the Majingalani area, which has a bad reputation for killing lions, especially after more than one lion has been killed there, such as Baya Haile, Meridati, Luciado, and now Olabore. The only one among them whose body was found is the lion Baya Haile, while the bodies of the others remain undiscovered. The information coming as evidence from the guards is plentiful and contradictory, but the most likely scenario is that Olabore was hunted down, stabbed with spears and swords, and tortured before he died. The latest information came from one of the Masai Mara tribesmen living in the Majingalani area, saying that all this talk is a lie and has no basis in reality, and nothing of the sort happened. He also blamed the Narok County government, saying that the biggest evidence for this is that the incident was not announced until about a month after it happened, and there's a reason for concealing and covering up the matter all that time. He also said that they didn't find the body, and perhaps it was deliberately hidden. What's worse is that the system there is completely corrupt. So it's possible that Olabore was kidnapped and sold to anyone who paid a lot of money, and it's not necessary to sell him alive, as they could also sell his body after killing him, selling the skin and fangs, and so on. The situation here carries completely different scenarios, and the days will prove the validity of any scenario. But the catastrophe will be greater and greater, and it will be extremely disgusting if there is no evidence of the life or death of this lion, as all responsibility will be placed on the corrupt or neglectful government. What happened happened, and now Oloshiba remains alone amidst many big and strong lion alliances, and he must find another alliance to join, or form a new alliance with a new lion to ensure his survival and be able to protect his land, females, and lionesses. In the end, the saddest thing about this issue is that Olabore achieved everything, but he forgot to be a father to many cubs who could have carried his strength and terrifying genes. Throughout the danger, death would not approach him, with his solid heart and majestic form that terrifies anyone who tries to attack him, or even just approach his territories. The old lion, the greatest and oldest among lions, is Lolparpit, the famous lion of the Masai Mara Reserve. Together with his fierce brother Olabore, they have drawn a tale of resilience and challenge across the vast lands of the reserve, where weakness cannot exist amidst the terrifying beasts competing for power, rule, and food. The legendary tale of these two lions has inspired many around the world to travel and take pictures of them, introducing their extraordinary ability to endure despite all the dangers they faced, and despite all the fierce prides that tried to drive them out and end their lineage. The legendary Lolparpit and his brother Olabore were born in the Ridge Pride at the beginning of 2005, along with another male named Junior from a different female. Also born before them at the end of 2003 was Shiza, along with his brother who was born in mid-2004, the lion Sala, who later gained fame thanks to the documentary Big Cat Diary by the British Broadcasting Corporation. Later, as the cubs grew up, it became necessary for them, as usual, for all other cubs to leave the pride and then find their own way and discover their strength and establish their pride that will carry their genes for decades to come. On their journey to discover what fate holds for them at the end of 2007, Lolparpit, Olabore, Junior, Shiza, and Sala took over Olikambo Pride. However, only Sala, Shiza, and Junior were accepted by the females in the pride, which forced Lolparpit and his brother Olabore to move on in hopes of finding another pride where they can prove themselves. At the beginning of 2008, the brothers arrived at the northwestern part of Olabore Reserve, where they were accepted into Nkoyonai Female Pride before eventually taking over its leadership. After 2 years having gained experience and strength, they took control of Moniko Pride after expelling the dominant lions, Memzi and Lolalai, who ruled before them. They extended their rule over all of Olabore Reserve until mid-2011, as they continued to try to expand and dominate. The name Lolparpit, this great lion, which means the one with big hair, is a testament to his majestic beauty. Therefore, he was always favored by lionesses due to his heavier and darker mane. These two lions survived tough times, especially during the drought that swept Masai Mara in 2009, which led to many animals' deaths, both predators and prey alike. They also fought many battles while fiercely protecting their territories. With his strong genes, Lolparpit became a father to many lionesses and lions around Masai Mara, including later on the powerful knights and their most famous lion, Scarface. During the years when Lolparpit and Olabore were responsible for Nkoyonai Pride and Moniko Pride, later on Double Crossing and Oldikidik, where they sired many cubs which they also protected even after they became young and strong, which is something not many other lions did. The life of these two lions with their sacrifices and care for their cubs attracted many photographers chasing legendary stories around the world. Over the years, thousands of tourists aspired to spend many days immortalizing moments of great beauty and excitement. Over the years, many young lions attempted to invade the territories controlled by these two powerful lions to no avail. However, due to the injury that Lolparpit sustained, signs of weakness and decline eventually had to appear. The brothers were forced to relinquish their territories in Inquiani after a fierce confrontation with Notch's lions, causing Lolparpit and his brother to retreat to the Pride of Double Crossing for fear of death. But life did not wish to leave these two lions in peace, so two other very fierce and vigorous young lions, Mohican and Romeo, encroached upon their territory. They defeated the brothers, who showed great strength in defense, but to no avail, forcing them again to leave the pride to these two new lions, who also did not stop expanding and controlling, to the extent that they took over the Inquiani group and expelled Notch's lions. The brothers tried to return and attack Mohican and Romeo, but were defeated again and fled to the eastern regions of the area, where they settled until around 2015, before their peace was disturbed by 5 new strong lions from the Rekaro group, who expelled the brothers after a very fierce and strong battle that nearly ended their lives. Afterwards, Lolparpit left with Olabore far from the place. But because these two lions were accustomed to control and ruling territories, they tried at the end of 2016 to take over Oldikidik's pride, and indeed succeeded. Samgis. After a year of rest, life smiled at them when Mohican died under mysterious circumstances, and his brother Romeo left, allowing the brothers to return to their former pride, Moniko, and settle there until 2017, before the appearance of 2 very strong lions whose fame spread in the place and were written about by many photographers, Lipstick and Blackie, who initially took over the pride. However, they faced a very violent and combative confrontation from the brothers, who had reached an advanced age, but their defense was unprecedented and terrifying, until they actually managed to expel Blackie and Lipstick. Bad luck accompanied these 2 lions, and just months after stability, returned to their lives within the pride, 3 young lions, known as Salaboys, also arrived. At that time, Lolparpit was almost killed before his brother intervened, saved him, and expelled the 3 lions. But because life in the wild is not safe even for the fiercest beasts, bliss would not last long. Bad luck returned in the form of fig tree lions, represented by 2 strong young lions, Kaka and Maridadi, who were sons of Lipstick and Blackie. These 2 lions entered eagerly for battle. However, Lolparpit's courage led him to use claw for claw, roar for roar, bite for bite in a very intense battle. Indeed, Lolparpit won the battle in the end, but it left him injured in one of his hind legs, an injury that would accompany him until his death. Despite his injury, Lolparpit continued to be respected and feared by other lions in the vast Masai Mara reserve, to such an extent that even in old age, no lion dared cross into the area he zealously guarded and protected with his brother Olabore, his ally in power and blood brother. Lolparpit's condition deteriorated after his injury. He became old, thin, hungry, unable to move, and was seen lying motionless. Finally bowing to life, Lolparpit breathed his last due to old age on November 18, 2020, at approximately 16 years old. It can be said that this is one of the longest periods a lion can survive under harsh conditions in the wild African wilderness. And although it is sad news, it is encouraging to know that he died of natural causes on his land between Masai Mara Reserve's main area and Olabore Conservancy's border. Even at his time of death, Olabore, who had formed a tremendous duo alliance with him and the rest of the pride, were still nearby. He watched over his brother, who left a legacy in the kingdom of lions that will echo for many years to come.